Hey, how's it going, guys? It's the Llamaster here, and welcome back to another Rocket League video. And in this one, guys, we're going to be going through every single secret change that was added in the Starbase Arc update. That's right, guys. So what I mean by secret changes is these weren't talked about too much, but there's some very big things that were added in during this update with either bug fixes, secret items, and there's just a lot of cool things to talk about. Now, overall, we're pretty much going to be going through the patch notes, so these are officially changed things that were added in, and I made sure to pick out the biggest things in this update that I thought most of you wouldn't know. So, of course, this is going to be a helpful video, and you're going to get to learn something new, which is insane, isn't it? So we're going to be going through a bunch of them, just highlighting each individual one, and of course, just taking some time to talk about it in terms of how big of a change it was and how awesome it is, or if it was really needed at all. But other than that, guys, remember to leave a like down below if you enjoyed today's video, and without further ado, let's get into it with the first thing on this list. So starting off today's episode, I thought I would kick it off with a very big change, and this one is that on the map Aquadome, they removed that weird double ball reflection thing on the map. So this one was complained about a ton. Now, I am on the Rocket League Reddit page a lot, just browsing through, looking at everything that people post, and I happened to see a ton of these posts, especially when the update first came out, of people complaining about this weird double ball distortion thing whenever the ball would get close to the walls. Now, mostly what was causing people to get annoyed with this is that it was making them sick to their stomach. Like, you know when you're riding in the car and you're trying to read your phone at the same time and it just kind of makes you sick? This is the same thing that was happening to people in the game. Now, I didn't personally have a problem with it, but apparently a lot of people did. Now, along with removing this weird distortion thing, they also put out that they improved the frame rate on this map overall. Now, this one was also a big topic because people were complaining about it a ton. Even though the map ran fine on Xbox and PS4 for the most part, people on the lower end PCs, which didn't necessarily have the right recommended specs, they were complaining that they were getting terrible frame rate on this map, or that their teammates were having to quit because of their awful frame rate. Now, what's awesome about this change is that Psyonix did not have to do this at all. They could have just said, screw you guys for not having the right recommendations, but they actually took time and went out of their way to make sure that this map runs well for as many people as possible, and I think that's just amazing and definitely one of the things that makes Psyonix one of the best game companies out there. Now, moving on to the next change. Now, this one is a bit more obvious, but I just had to include it because it's so freaking amazing. I love it so much. So the change I'm talking about here is that you get to see the replays even if your opponents forfeit after the goal. So you know how you're in a game, you see the ball go up, you go for an insane freestyle, you hit it perfectly right into the back of the net, and your opponents forfeit, causing you to just sit there crying as you don't get to see the replay? Well, you do not have to deal with that anymore because they changed it so that you still get to see the replay after your opponents leave. Now, this freaking addition, I gotta applaud Psyonix on this one. This is amazing. I love it so much because now whenever I get freestyles, even if it's in one-on-one, I don't have to worry about not seeing the replay if an opponent leaves. Now, of course, even if you don't freestyle and your opponents leave after a very cool goal, you still get to see it and record it if you want to. Now, moving on again, this next topic is very cool and it involves some secret new items that were added into the game. So, of course, if you watch my channel, you'll already know about the secret yellow lightning boost that was added in. It looks so freaking sick. I love that boost so much. However, that is not the only item they added in. They actually added in two other items, and those are the satellite antenna and the flower power Merc decal. Now, both of these, they're not groundbreaking, but they are fairly cool. Now, first of all, with the satellite antenna, this one is actually really sick. I'm going to try and get this with some uncommon trade-ups because it's actually kind of a cool one. It's not like that freaking fish on the harpoon, which was so weird. It's actually a decent looking antenna and it has some pretty cool colors to it. Now, with the other item, oh my goodness, prepare yourselves for the flower power Merc decal. Now, unfortunately, I'm so sorry. I could not get an in-game picture of this with it on the Merc itself, but I imagine it makes it look like a freaking hippie van. Like, what could be better than that? We already know it is the pedo van, but now it can be the hippie pedo van? That is freaking amazing. So yeah, I might try to get this one as well just for the fun of it. But yeah, overall, the satellite and the yellow lightning were definitely the coolest things that were added in. Moving on yet again, this one is fairly obvious, so we won't talk about it a ton, but it is that at the end of each match highlight replays will now be played in the background behind the scoreboard. And of course, you can turn that scoreboard off, but this feature is really cool. Along with being able to see the individual game replays when opponents leave, you get to review every single goal and I believe save in the game during the scoreboard menu. And overall, I like this a ton. It's taking a note from sports games and actually real life sports where they put up highlights after the games. And so, you know, if you get a sick sick aerial goal. You get to see it from another perspective right away as soon as you finish that match. As for the next one on the list, this one is weird. So we're going to have to talk about this one a bit. And it kind of goes in two parts here, but this is that they fixed the Batmobile glitch that would happen when it hit the ground. It would sort of bounce to the side. They completely removed that, but by doing so, they added in an even worse glitch that sometimes happens that forces the car's wheels to go under the map. So, yeah, Psyonix, I don't think you did the best job of fixing this one. In fact, I think this is a great deal worse, but it is honestly pretty hilarious. Now, I do not use the Batmobile at all, so I never really experienced this issue, but I can only imagine how annoying it was to be landing on your wheels and then bounce to the side suddenly. And now when they go to fix it, if you land too hard, you just go under the map a bit. That is awesome. Now, along with this one ultimately sucks for a lot of people, but by fixing the Batmobile glitch, for some reason they added it to the Octane. Like, what? So yeah, when you sometimes land with the Octane now, you will just randomly bounce to the side for no apparent reason. Now this absolutely sucks because by far Octane is one of the most popular cars in the game, and when you have a glitch like this suddenly come into it, that's a pretty big problem. So this is definitely a negative change that we don't want in the game, but I'm sure they will fix it fairly soon. Now of course, I'm not sure what causes this glitch. It could be just a coating with the wheels, but overall it's just a mystery for me. I mean, I don't freaking know what goes on with the coding of the game, but overall, again, it's definitely a very weird issue. Next up on the list, we have another small option that has to do with the volume controls, and this is a very small one. Again, we won't talk about it very much, but it is that they just simply added a master volume control slider to the audio options menu. So this one, yeah, it's very small, but it's definitely so freaking helpful for YouTubers like me who have to adjust the audio level in the game so that it doesn't cover up my friends' voices when I'm recording them in the party. So before they added in this option, I just had to go through all 4 of these and adjust them very slowly to be at the same speed. And every time I wanted to change it, I had to go through every single one and alter it at the same freaking time. So it was very freaking annoying, like you could not believe. But I'm so glad that they added in this new option, and it's definitely going to be very helpful in the future. Now getting into something that is really big that I'm sure a bunch of you do not know, it has to do with the Utopia Colosseum Snowy, which is such a freaking awesome map. So of course, you already know that this one is just such a cool map with the Christmas stuff outside and the freaking gigantic candy canes, but you probably did not know that it has been permanently added to the Snow Day playlist. That's right, so although this map will disappear in the early 2017 as they said in the patch notes, it will be permanently in the Snow Day playlist. So that's very cool. I actually love this map a ton. The dynamic effects on the snow on the ground with the tires and the explosions altering how it looks. It's honestly a really cool feature. You wouldn't think that you notice it too much, but it's so cool to have it start out as this perfectly snowy playing field, and then after the game, you just see all the tire tracks, the explosions from the goal, and just blowing other players up. It's a very cool option, and I'm really happy that they added it in permanently to the Snow Day playlist. Like, you know, I would have loved to permanently have this map in every single playlist, but that would pretty much be the equivalent of having your Christmas decorations up in freaking June. So, you know, although I love those giant candy canes, I'm just gonna have to go to the Snow Day playlist in order to see them again. Alright, so moving on to the second to last thing. This one is fairly small, but it is really cool on its own. So this is another item that was added in that wasn't really talked about too much, and it is the Video Game Awards flag updated for 2016. So of course, guys, if you didn't know, Psyonix actually got an award at the Video Game Awards show for the best development team of 2016. Now, honestly, they deserve that a ton, and to commemorate that, they added it into the game right here. Now, it's a pretty freaking boring flag. Like, they just picked the text and put the Game Awards 2016. You know, it's something. It's definitely something. But yeah, it's definitely a sentimental cool thing. I don't think I'll see anybody use this, especially when you have the flags like the Sidemen FC flag, the No Clip flag, the NZXT flag, and of course the Vicstar flag, and soon to be the Llamasur flag. I would actually love to have that in the game. Comment down below if you'd like to see a Llamasur flag in Rocket League. We definitely need to freaking make that happen. But anyways, these other flags are really cool, and the Game Awards one is just fairly blah, but of course it's sentimental and is definitely a cool one to be added in. Now for the final change in the game, this one is fairly odd, but I wanted to clear up some confusion around it. So the change I'm talking about here is the controller dead zone options added into the control menu. So basically what it means by a controller dead zone is that by setting it to say 0.3, which is the default option, you have to tilt the analog stick 30 degrees of the way in any direction before your car actually begins to change direction itself. So with that being said, reducing this down makes your car more sensitive, but if you're concerned about it being the exact same way as it was before they added in this option, just keep it at 0.30. That is the default amount, and it won't change at all how you play. Now it will be interesting to see if pro players adopt this to have their dead zones lower to see if they can get some quicker inputs, but overall I really don't know. I never even noticed it, and I'm definitely going to leave it at 0.30 for a long time. But anyways guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and of course I hope you learned something new. And if you did, be sure to leave a like down below. It helps me out a ton, and I definitely appreciate to see you guys enjoying the videos. Also, be sure to leave a comment of which change is your favorite in the new update. It can be anything, even the Octane ZSR, which still annoys me, but either way, I'd love to continue the conversation down there. But other than that, guys, again, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm the Llama Sir, and I will see you guys next time.